Bray Wyatt is back and it looks like he didn't come alone. Well, if not, maybe he should reconsider.
Don't touch that mouse unless you're trying to subscribe. The next pro wrestling vid coming at you in 3, 2, 1.
Bray Wyatt is set to make his first television appearance in well over a year this Friday on SmackDown. AEW can learn from the pageantry and production of WWE, because Wyatt's return was everything an AEW debut was not. When it comes to Saraya, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, AEW simply relies on letters on a Titantron for that big ex-WWE pop. Look, I've seen some of the toxic tweets from these AEW hardcores, and you can't rely on these people to know how to read. Whereas an AEW return is reliant on a Titantron and little else, WWE rolled out Bray Wyatt with A1 production, like it was an independent horror movie being screened for Sundance. From the abandoned Firefly Funhouse to its characters coming to life, Bray Wyatt was a bigger star because of this, and his star power won't die off immediately after his pop. In fact, I counted at least 6 big pops during the return. There was the pop when the lights went out, the pop when they heard him singing "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," the loud pop when they saw The Fiend, another pop when they saw the Lantern, a big pop when they saw Bray in his new mask, and finally a monster pop when he removed the mask. That's how you get the most out of a return. The wrestling world has been chasing the White Rabbit, and the honeymoon period has been good to Bray Wyatt, because Mans is a draw. When this carny trick originally was introduced, it was designed to make fans believe that Bray Wyatt was returning on the September 23rd SmackDown at 9:23. The trick worked as SmackDown drew over 2.5 million viewers, the most since the show had an NFL lead-in in 2020. Of course, Bray Wyatt didn't return on that episode, but now that he's back, tickets flew off the shelves in Brooklyn for Raw. Raw after Wyatt was a sellout at the Barclays Center. Even though Raw was up against a competitive Monday night game between the Chiefs and the pathetic Raiders, Devontae left the Super Bowl contender to go to the 1-4 Raiders and probably get suspended for pushing a cameraman, the Bray Wyatt fallout even led to a bump in Raw viewership on Monday. But much like 923, there was no in-person appearance from Bray because they're saving that for Friday. I've always been a fan of Bray Wyatt, but much like any fan of Bray Wyatt, I'm just as much a fan of his potential as his actual output. Remember, this is now our 3rd go-around with a Bray Wyatt incarnation. 4 if you count Husky Harris. The constant has always been excitement and potential early on, only for the character to violently flame out, sometimes literally. Bray Wyatt's cult leader gimmick made him an instant crowd favorite alongside the Wyatt family, even as a heel. But then he got too creative for his own good and he started speaking in riddles. Once Bray Wyatt was tougher to translate than any of Kanye's tweets, it was back to the drawing board. Thankfully, Bray Wyatt drew up another masterpiece in the form of the Firefly Funhouse. This gave way to The Fiend. Again, an incredible and memorable debut, a promising act, but ultimately he flamed out even more violently than before. Wyatt's last appearance at WrestleMania was so embarrassing, it might as well have been pinned by a dog. Has AEW signed that dog, by the way? Please tell me they signed that dog. Anyway, after another incredible Bray Wyatt spectacle, I'm excited, but also nervous given his history. Let's dive into pros and cons as to whether or not Wyatt is due for yet another crash and burn, this time in the Triple H era. The pro that sticks out most to me is Bray Wyatt's creativity. Bray will no longer have the Vince McMahon excuse, and while it seems that even Triple H has butted heads with the wildly creative soul, Wyatt will presumably have more creative license in a new era. One of the big cons of this supernatural character is its detrimental effect on babyfaces. Seth Rollins, whose Clash at the Castle win over Riddle was his first pay-per-view win since June 2021, is just barely recovering from the damage done to him as a babyface. I don't even like Seth Rollins' heel character, but through the magic of sing-along theme music and all-world in-ring talent, he's managed. If WWE was able to tell the right stories with Bray Wyatt, everybody should just get over and nobody's career should be stifled because they had to sell for a magic trick. Shifting back to the positive, a pro for Bray Wyatt's return is long-term booking. That's right, WWE actually hired a director of long-time creative. Words that I don't think have been spoken in WWE since WrestleMania 4. Rob Fee, who was hired for the job, is said to be an ally of Bray Wyatt, and I'm guessing this was a condition of Bray Wyatt's return. I don't blame Bray. He probably wants to protect himself so the next time he has a plan for a long-term story, the rug doesn't get pulled out from underneath him before the payoff. Bray Wyatt said, "Y'all ain't having me come back to some cockamamie rest stoppage or a surprise loss to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia at the last minute." Direction will only help this character because it's all Bray Wyatt has ever really needed. A con is too many cooks in the kitchen, like 6 to be exact. I've seen a lot of people fantasy book who all these characters could represent. Who's gonna have the honor of playing a strung out mascot at the Burning Man Disneyland? Is Liv Morgan gonna play a witch? Will Bo Dallas be the rabbit? Is Huskus gonna be Joe Gacy? Is Mercy gonna be Dexter Loomis? Bray Wyatt was cut because he made too much money the last time around. So will there be an accountant played by the IRS? Will the Fiend be Barry Windham? Maybe they can sign that wrestling dog to play Vince McMahon. There is a such thing as too much creativity, and I just hope this doesn't lead to too many cooks in the kitchen. We've seen Bray Wyatt get lost in his own creative filth with one additional character added. And now these same fans who turned on him are calling for an ensemble cast of grown adults playing puppets? There's more of a chance that the Liv Morgans and Dexter Loomises of the world ruin their careers by dressing up like grown-ass Muppets who live on the Sesame Street across from a meth lab. Hopefully all these real-life puppets were merely references to Bray Wyatt's past, and now that he's present, he's learned a brand new trick for the future. The final pro is social media, which has helped WWE market Bray Wyatt in new and inventive ways. This has also led to quantifiable spikes in business. The subtle Bray Wyatt QR codes are a departure from WWE's typically over-the-top marketing, and it was like catnip for wrestling fans who chased every Easter egg that was laid by the White Rabbit. The final con is also social media, which can be Bray Wyatt's best friend just as easily as it can be his worst enemy. If this character doesn't deliver and it begins to creatively misfire in future storylines, Twitter will turn on Bray Wyatt just like they did in 2018 and just like they did in 2021. Will Bray Wyatt finally live past his enormous potential? Has WWE learned its lesson about how to book him? Will long-term creative actually work in the Triple H era? Tell me in the comments!